First thing I should say, finally, we got 2 projects on the top and it's all done. We would like to say, firstly, very honored to be here and thanks to ASA President and the Expo Chairman who invited us, and very nice to meet all of you here today as well. At the beginning, I would like to trace back to our background a bit, that if you look at on this map, it actually have 4 places that really related to our backgrounds, like China, France, Japan, and Thailand. So these are the kind of like ingredients to shape our experience and try to understand what the thing that's gonna happen for the future architectures.
So today we not going to give a lecture. Rather than give a lecture, we are thinking about how to give our observation in here, in Thailand. So this is a photo, shows our office and our living conditions. As you can see, there are many shop houses, townhouses, and all of them looks very similar. And that's a question in my mind for a long time. Why all of the houses, they are look at the same? They are pretty cold, and they are like a machine box. And there are many people talking about this. You have to design a house, architecture, which like a box. But that's very differently from the nature. Nature doesn't tell me about this. If you see the nature, everything are differently. Everything has a strong power, the energy. But when I back to my office and my house, many people still think about we need to live in a machine box. So I start to concern why all of the people around us, they are talking about this, and why our architecture and our city all are look the same. And I just noticed that's not only in Thailand, but also around all of the Asia cities. So if you look at this picture, you actually can see all of them made by concrete, metal, glasses, and all of them look very cold, soulless. But if you look at the painting of traditional Thailand, the landscape is very, very important, and the house is very small, and all of the people, they are surrounded by the nature. But if you look at the China, they are more strong. As you can see, the house is very small, and all of them are the landscape, the mountain, and the river. However, that's very different from mine. This is a painting by us, by my colleague. They are also in here, and also by our office. As you can see, a painting, a drawing of Thailand. All of them are the concrete buildings, but at the same time, if you compare the cities in China, they are the same. You couldn't recognize which one is Thailand and which one is China. All of them are the same. So can we have another way to give our life, to give our cities a bit different? So that's the way that we concern, and we try to do something, make our life back to the nature. That's called innate nature. And what is the innate nature? I want to talk about this. If you really look at the child, you don't need to teach them. You don't need to educate them. They like to naked, play in the mud, and also walk on the soil. And that's the innate nature. You don't need to teach. But at the same time, I don't know when our cities tend to be a concrete jungle, metal jungle, and glass jungle. So that's a fundamental equation in my mind. Can we return our cities to the innate nature?
Yeah, that's probably like the question that we always keep in our philosophy actually. So we started to look at how we involve these kind of things to our architectural projects. This is one of our projects called Kasetsart, which is very not big one, but at the same time we thought that it's like how we create this kind of nature in the place that with our context. So we started to look at some keywords that the size of the scale is not that big, how it's layering, and how the rawness that happen. So from that point, together with the function, of course, from the brief of the client, as is the furniture showrooms. So we started to see and try to understand the way how people absorb and getting experience from the cities. This is the cities of the site located in Hefei. It's called Hefei, which is around the middle part of China. It's also the same as what we mentioned at the beginning, that is all of the new development with the concrete jungles. From that part, not far from the city itself, there is one famous forest that everyone try to get to there to have a retreat. And what we learned about this is called Huangshan Mountain. It's coming like another layering that we try to bring that imagination back to these cities, which is so
there are
dry.
something very important in this project. This project is located in the city center. So can we have a nature senses in the urban concrete jungle? So this is the main concept. Rather than give an architectural space, we want to give a new senses of nature.
That is become the keyword that we try to absorb in this project, that how the modern cities can really, because as the functional in the term of the project itself, but how the illusion of the nature that happen in the space. So we try to convince the client that as the showrooms, they need to just emphasize some products that is very highlight products. And with that context, we got a little bit problem, like if you look at the buildings itself, there are like a huge 4 columns allowed, as we have another building on the top of our projects as well. So what we try to create the space and giving a new experience is we give them more columns.
So we try to give them more than 100 columns, but instead of creating the columns, the people may feel it's in the forest, in the tree space. And that's a video shows the construction site. So they have no commercial space. They have no the talking space or the meeting space. All of the space is just for relax. So people in here, they can be more mindset.
Actually, we try to simulate the feeling and atmosphere like you walk in the Huangshan Mountain as well. Like when you walk around the layering of the tree, and at the end of each corridor, you can see the light come in. And that is like a main space that they can exhibit the furnitures. And it's become like a luxury place for these shops as well. From that point, the idea of this creating columns is very simple. That is different size, but it's like twisting. This is the way how we shape the area. And also each column itself is become another room in the room. So when people walk from the outside, they access here and they can really understand the space by the light that come into the space.
And not only creating the columns, those columns has more extension. So naturally to have the wind and the sunlight for the indoor space. And from this innate nature, we have noticed one thing in our design, because all of the projects they designed by us, which located outside of the city, at the suburb. So our surroundings are often ugly, very strange. They have no any meaning, no any dialogues with the surrounding. So we are thinking to create a new nature in the concrete city. And I want to start with this. It's the photo shoot of the city of Bangkok. And we want to talk about the second idea of nature, which called involved nature. And I could like to show some of our researches of the city of Bangkok. So firstly is about the signage, and the second is about the shop houses, or some of the balconies, fence, and also the train market, and some of the slums under the expressway, and also the cantilever park and the scaffolding temples.
Actually, this kind of thing is like you can really observe in your daily life. And then when we started to do some research about that, we start to understand more how the situation and how the local people, they shape this in terms of the situations.
So this is the first research. Actually, this research is at the Chinatown area, Yawala. So it's a shop, they selling the food. But you can see in front of the shop, they have a car, and the car is always there, and they have a canopy, and this canopy was connected with the car park. So they tend to be a tunnel restaurant, which provides the natural ventilation and the shading. So from this, we are very surprised with actually the ordinary life can give the shading, ventilation, and also arcade. And we are very carefully to illustrate this case, which actually can happen everywhere in the Asia cities. So as you can see, they have some materials, the cantilever, papai, and also the car park. And that's the typical material in Thailand.
So from that point, actually every research that we done, we try to keep it as like find the keywords from those researches. And it's somehow that bring to inspire to some of our work. This is another project design that we, it's called Simple Art Museum. The project itself is like no any context in the cities as well. And when the client approach us, they say the view that we're gonna have is the expressway in front. And so of course there's no any information about the culture projects that gonna happen. With that, we started to understand the cities, which is in An Huy province, and the building itself is also in the new development area. And how we bring the new culture as the project is called Simple Art Museum. So we started to understand like the old town's history, Hefei old town, and how the Mata rivers that pass through to our site, which is really close by. And this Mata river actually is like giving a new information how those old cities can connect to the new development. And this is the idea that the water passed through from old town to the new towns, and actually it's really close to our side, but nobody see these rivers. So from that, we started to generate different kind of design options with the idea of how we connecting the cultures from old to new, and also another concern about like how we giving a new direction or new platform for the people who can access to the projects. So at the beginning, when the client say to us, we only have the site at just 32 meters and by 12.5 meters. And with that, we felt that it could be more interesting if we ask them to add more shadings with 6 meters, that they can extend the building and it become a new big shading for the cities. So from that, when it's like based of the rules of their own site, and there is a lot of negotiation between the cities and the owner. And finally, we got this shading device that is become a new signature for the front of the facade, which is also continue to the interior project as well. So not only the outside that giving the new direction, but then it can pass through to the interior. For this project, we also change the way how people absorb the art that have several galleries, and also the main exhibition that the owner keep their own art gallery. And also some walls, we work with the curator that some walls, but normally the wall when you put the art, it should be flat wall. And then we work on the detail, like how they can really install on the curved wall.
We are asking a question. If an art museum doesn't have an art, how he could be? So even they have no any art galleries, this building can be a piece of art. And that's the true meaning for the community and the urban space, because the building itself is an art. So people can come here for communication, for talking. And that's the meaning for Chinese architecture, because they always change the function.
And that's happened like, it also not only affect the art itself industry, but it's also really affect to the cities. So many people come here as their daily life and become a part of people like can really check into the Hefei cities.
So if you remember, this building has no any view. In front of the building is a parking space and also the garbage area and the expressway. So we use very minimized opening for catch the light, but without seeing the view. And at the same time, the artificial light at the ceiling integrate with the six-day shapes. So this also make this building has iconic.
So these are the set of the drawing that we work with the client, and there are of course some situation that has the existing buildings itself, existing structures, and how we generate the new space to the space. So from that, this project we. Actually, when we found that the keyword itself is also somehow that related to our research, which is we try to provide a new shading for the cities and giving the arcade and also ventilation.
So those are the professional photos, but we could like to show some of the photos that we received from the client. So this is at the weekend time. They have some community event, and also they have some talk during the weekend or seasonal, which invite some of the designers. And also this is at the winter. During the winter, they have a Christmas Eve and also some of the parties.
So with these shadings is actually not only held for the sunny time, but when it's winter time, it's also held to protect the snows as well.
And that's the photos during the event. And also we design a cafe. So a cafe area actually really helps the community.
So this Symbol Art Museum is not only cultural buildings, but it's like combining between the commercial and culture together. And it's become a part that really also connect the art with the infrastructure of the cities.
So originally in front of the building is a parking space, but once when this building fully complete, the front space tend to be a community garden. So this building has really held the city and also the community. And the next one, we want to talking about a spatial temple. So we start this research 3 years ago. And recently, they are under renovation. So you can see the photo that we took 3 years ago and also the photo from end of the last year. So you can see the temple actually under the construction and during the renovation. But that's very interesting. They have some scaffolding. And during the scaffolding and the construction, they also have some fabric. The papai. But if you go more closer, they have a tunnel go out from the inside, just like our simple art museum. And if you go more deeper, you may notice the internal temple it still work very well. So that's very surprised us. And all of the material and the space actually is multifunctional, standardization and flexible. So we are thinking, can we use this method for designing a new project? And the chance is coming. So we will commission a project to design a space that exhibit the aluminum. And the client called Museum of Modern Aluminum, MoMA. And when they approach us, we are very excited. Because if you imagine, if you know, typically a display, a gallery, a museum, they must be located in a very beautiful space. But in this case, when we went to the site, there are nothing. There are many signage around the site, but they have no any nature, beautiful open space. They have a very big wall and many signage. So we start to notice, can we make those signage be part of our design? So we start go more deeper for the signage, and we notice all of the signages where using the surface instead of use their section profiles. So that's the true beautiful for the aluminum. But I don't know why. They have no one use this for their section. All of them use the surface. So we are thinking, can we use this method for showing the section of the aluminum? And even we go more further.
Yeah, I would elaborate more about the client background. Actually, they are like a sourcing of whole process of aluminums, and they try to give a new innovation process to the visitors. So that's why we work with them also on the program side. And we went to factories, understand the processing of the aluminum. And what we informed to them that people just did not see how the aluminum innovation can work. Why not we just make the aluminum to be the exhibit to the outside of the facade, and interior become their flexible area that they can really give the knowledge for aluminum sourcings.
So in this case, we put all of the aluminum profiles at the outside, at the facade. But at the same time, actually this location, they have no any context. All of them are the signage, but they have something very special with, which is an island next to our side. The straight line is 7 kilometers, and on the island, actually they have the fireflight. So we are thinking, can we use this feeling to integrate to our design, make the concrete jungle be more lively by using aluminum and integrate with the idea of the fireflight?
Yeah, it's the Mongkut Island in Thai, and in the past, people try to see the firefly at the night. So this is like a first sketch?
Yeah, this is a first sketch by Paul. And as you can see, we try to integrate general all of the firefly on the building, and some of the part they can be the tree around the building. But in reality, that's very hard. That's very hard to convince the client, because this is not the point for build this building, right? So we turn the firefly to be the aluminum, and we select aluminum integrate with the LED light.
So that become a part, that the idea of our mind become like a part of the firefly in front of the buildings. And with this profile, actually everyone can have that in your home if you have sliding door. It's very simple profiles, and we tested with the mock-up at the day, like half term of when we do the projects. And with this mock-up, we started to understand the densities that is maybe not the right, so how we work deal with, and also testing the firefly and dandelion in the daytime.
Yeah, so by using the same structure, when we cantilever the aluminum profiles, they will slightly move according to their length of the cantilever. But that's very pity because when we propose this design to the client, they feel this project a little bit weird. They have never seen the design with 1,000 or 10,000 aluminum profiles at the facade. So unfortunately, this project not get to build. So by this opportunity, we were making a physical model, which you can see on the screen. So by this model, the client really knows, oh, there are more than 10,000 aluminiums embrace the building.
Yeah, actually the project was on hold for a year, and then we tried to make our best by architects. So we do a huge model, but 1:30 scales, and show them that how the effects of aluminum works. And here is the final image.
Yeah, and the dream is come true. So finally, the client has approved our design and make this building be the real. So as you can see, the surrounding all are the same as the photo from the before. All of them are the signage. And if you move closer to this building, you will see more than 10,000 aluminiums straightforward from the interior to the exterior. And if you go more closer, you may notice those aluminiums, they are not just for the decoration, they also can block the sun, and also they can be the LED lighting. So they have a function which can be the lighting and also be the shading device for this building.
Yeah, we also did not only mapping the pattern, but it's all by unit types. So each pattern unit is controlled by the unit itself. And this is how we generate the pattern on the facades. So in different extension for each colors. And then that's why it looks randomly, but actually it's like controllable. So in the term of detail, so we work with our lighting consultants and see also with the engineer consultants to see how the wind can really simulate to the facade.
So in this video, you can see it's during the construction, but all of the structure people are the same scale, same size. So the cantilever aluminum gives the shaking a little bit, just like daily light, as we mentioned before.
Also, from interior and exterior, the aluminum is lapped up for whole the buildings. And with that, if you look at the different size of the aluminum itself, use the same profile, but it's treated in the different way of the pattern.
People feel this building is very complicated, but in reality, this building is very simple. All of our projects have only 3 units, most of them. So if you remember, we are talking about an island not far from our site. So at the rooftop, we are cooperate with the trap, and Thong is also over there.
People is there too.
People is, okay.
Yes.
So we work with people, and we are very lucky for having him because this is his first, most smallest project in Thailand. And we also work very closely according to the firefly and daily light.
Yeah, and all by landscape element, all by aluminums. So from that different side of the facade, we also control by the unit type systems with the different extensions. And this is how we control the pattern on the facade itself, and also work with the builder to make them understand how they can build. And sometimes that I think almost the day that gonna open.
Yeah, if you remember, we were talking about the signage, and at the end, the client has requested a real signage. They want a big signage in front of the building. So we give another option. Can we put their signage in our aluminum? So we use the English alphabet and speed it into our aluminum profiles. So as you can see, their logo is also integrated into the LED light and the aluminum. And that's that's a way for making this building be more clean and elegant.
And in the daytime, they also paint in the same text.
Yeah, so when you approach this building, you actually can see a tree like very lively, they grow up very well and push out. And if you want to enter this building, you will slightly turn to the left and enter a hall. And from this, you can see our idea was try to make the aluminum occupy whole of the buildings. So in this way, you cannot see the lamp, but you can see the light. You cannot see the equipment. You cannot see air conditioning. Everything covered by the aluminum, just like the forest, just like a real tree. So in this case, we want to use a single language, a single architectural language for making this idea be very clearly. And this is another way that you can see end of the gallery and also another space of the gallery, which shows the entire aluminum from the interior to the exterior.
And with this project, we got a lot of feedback that happened around, not only in Thailand, it's happened around the world. It's just traced back about 3 or 4 years ago from that the beginning of this project happened. It became like a change of the way how people understand aluminum in a new way of how we can really innovate or evolving aluminum in a different way. And we also like did one small pocket book that explain whole the process, including like how the tragedy happened during the construction.
So if you remember, we were talking about the idea of the daily light and the firefly. But in reality, during the presentation to the client, we never mentioned about the daily light and the firefly. So this is the first rendering. We were talking about all of the aluminum we can show at the outside and try to keep the internal space be clean, multifunctional. But in reality, when the client see this space during the testing of the light, they also mention about can we decrease the LED light because at the nighttime there are not much visitors. So they want to save the electric costs. By this chance, we are slightly close the LED strip light and just keep the LED dark light. So we give this building a small and beautiful story about the firefly stop at the building after 8 p.m. So this way, people can see some firefly idea in our building.
And also, if you remember the wind, when the wind passed by, like our firefly is actually can fly at night, but it's artificial firefly anyway. So from that, it's kind of like the way that how we imagine the innate nature that it had in the city before, and how we apply multifunctional standardization and flexible keywords to these projects.
And you can see actually this building is located at the suburb and all of the context is artificial. But that's the reality in the Asia cities. If you look at our city in Bangkok or other cities, Hong Kong, Shanghai, Tokyo, Singapore, all of the capital has artificial man-made metal concrete. And that's the photo shoot by us for showing about the artificial mass, artificial stuff. So we want to think about a topic. Can we turn this to be more human nature life in the city? So last one, we want to talk about the hybrid nature. It's the last chapter for our practice.
Yeah, this one we recently just finished a project in front of BMA, Lan Kunming. It's a people square that we did for the Bangkok Design Week. It's called Highlight Bangkok. So this project at the beginning, we got the brief that we need to work with the BMA and Urban Ally who organized this district. But the limited budget that we got is really hard for us to find a way how we can really build a pavilion. So we started to look at the surrounding nearby. And one thing interesting is during the election, during that time, we found that the electric post is not just electric post. It's become a structure for the signage. So the election signage can really have their own structures. Then we started to think, then maybe it probably can be one interesting way for us that we can save our own structures. And then we started to research more about the activities on that area. And one thing that very interesting is at night, people, a lot of people and activity happen under the electric poles. And daytime, as it's so hot, so many people want to have shading, so they be underneath the trees. So these two things, it become the idea for us that how this infrastructure and the nature that can really connect together.
So by connecting electric poles to the tree, people can have the new shading space, as you can see like this.
So with this is the view from BMA Sarawakan Gotamo. Then they can see through the outside. It's not easy project actually, because during the time we had a lot of events happen and we need to work with many departments to prove our projects. And finally, we gave them the big image that as the BMA, if comparing like you are like the host of the cities, and also the infrastructure is like a function for the cities. But normally it's really individualizations.
So that's very difficult in the city of Bangkok, because this design was used to be part of the infrastructure. So for the infrastructure, they have another department. So you couldn't really attach the infrastructure in the city, but because that's very dangerous. So we were making a physical model for showing this to our city mayor, and finally they agreed with us for making this incredible and exciting project.
Yeah, and with this, we did also the like solar radiations that can really prove that this area can hold the shadings. So from that event that happened, the new shading device that really located for the BMA district area is become a living space for Bangkok. And people use the space underneath and not like the place before. And also the activity also happened around the pavilion as well. So at night, it's like kind of like how the connecting that happened.
But if you remember, actually B&A City Square is actually very close to some of the big parks. So we want to bring this fresh idea under the tree in our pavilion. So all of our material, we make the small holes. So in this way, actually they can be, they can move with the wind just under the leaf, just like the feeling under the leaf.
So during the event that happened, people sitting underneath the sun more than normal days and really can enjoy how the wind pass through this fabric line, which is very long, about 100 meters. And the whole of the fabric also allow the sun pass through and the wind pass by. And one thing that I think is very interesting is like the way that how the space like can really relate it to everyday event that happened during that time.
So this is the final look. How did we transformation from the electric poles to the city gathering space, and by using the existing electric poles. And you can also compare the existing electric poles around the site. So there are many electric poles around Bangkok and also around Asia cities. So this is an illustration about how do we make the million electric poles can tend to be alive energy and also dramatic space in the cities of Asia.
So from this project, after the event finished, all the recycling that happened is can really claim is zero waste, total almost 100%. The fabric is turned to be the skirt for the fashion department at Kasetsart University.
So just back to the earlier presentation of the slides, if you remember, we were talking about the nature, but in reality, we are there with infrastructure and existing architecture and some of the machine boxes. But you can also think about architecture can be archinature, infrastructure can be infra-nature. So that's the way how do we think about it by using this method and try to turn the concrete city into a new, let's call the nature trilogy, innate nature, info nature, and hybrid nature.
That's probably the last sentence for us to talk about like how these things combine together and giving a new way of the future illusion that really unfolding the illusion of the future by innate nature and evolution architecture and giving a new hybrid of the nature in architecture. Thank you.
Thank you, Khong Kun Kap.